Man, I've already played these games. I wish they had Yandere Simulator for mobile.
Hey, you there. Can I let you in on a little secret?
Are you talking to me?
Yes, you dumbass, who else would I be talking to? So, I heard that you want to play Yandere Simulator, but for some reason you're acting like a 11-year-old who does not comprehend the ways of using a computer to download the game, so you wish it were on your phone instead.
How did you get in my house?
Are you serious? Why does that matter? Shut the hell up.
Well, yeah, actually, I was just thinking about how I couldn't play Yandere Simulator on my phone.
Well then, congratulations, you're in the right place to fall into the Saori Sato rabbit hole.
The Saori Sato rabbit hole?
Yes, the Saori Sato rabbit hole. Are you deaf or something, you piece of trash? Anyways, yes, it will be very interesting and fun and will definitely not traumatize you at a young age.
I mean, if you say it'll be fun, sure, why not? Yandere Schoolgirls Online. From the trailer that you just watched, you can tell, wow, this is such a great game. If you've heard of this game before, you know that this video is gonna be a treat. But if you don't know what this game is, don't worry, because I'm gonna tell you about this whole game and its lore and everything behind it and everything hidden. Let's analyze this trailer together. As you can see, we, the player, are allowed to do so many things, such as giving piggyback rides, building, destroying, whatever that means, and even being very intimate with other girls. Along with other attributes such as being able to customize your character, and even being able to play on a multiplayer universe. You can't help but wonder, is this really what this game is about? Just this? Just having fun with friends and being so girly and cute and magical anime girl princess? Well, that is true, yes. That's basically all the game is about. But there's one attribute that isn't really advertised. And to that, I'm referring to what this game was originally about, which was about a game that had such a rich storyline that unfortunately isn't advertised on this game, but it's in the game, so why is it not being advertised? Well, I can answer that for you pretty easily. That's because, just like a handful of others in the world, I basically lived through the history of this game. I played this game on their lows and highs, the beginnings and ends. So I can tell you the lore of this game. Before you see anything else, you need to know the premise of the game. This character here, his name is Saori Sato, and while she's a high school student attending this school, she's also a supervisor. So I mean, I guess you can say she has two jobs. Also, I should mention that this high school is called Sayama High School, and it's a girls-only school. So that means no boys are allowed, and that means there are no boys in this game. By being the school supervisor, Saori has a multitude of things to be doing at the school. She does basically what a regular supervisor does, which is make sure everything is in check, and since she's a supervisor at high school, she has to make sure the other students are also in check, meaning they aren't getting into any type of trouble. And because this is her first shift as a supervisor, you, as a player, are going through her experiences of her first day. So in reality, you and Saori don't even know what's gonna happen in this job. For some reason, this game has been going through different titles. The very first title that I remember the game going by was Schoolgirl Supervisor Saori Sato Anime. But after that era, it started to go by as Schoolgirl Supervisor Saori Sato Wildlife, which Honestly, I don't know why it was called Wildlife. I think the only thing that they added was a horse. Other than that, the game was basically the same game, except the anime version was the start of everything. Visiting the official Schoolgirl AI Online Simulator YouTube channel, that's a long name, you'll find many videos, and if you categorize it to the oldest, then you'll find old, like very old, footage of the first builds of this game. These are dated back in 2016. Even though the game looks similar to what I explained the game to be about, it is very different. I want you to take a look at these first few seconds of this video. You'll see a house behind her. This house belongs to Saori. As the video goes on, it shows Saori collecting money from a table. This money is currency in the game, meaning you can use this money to buy accessories or just, you know, recoloring her hair or a different outfit, and this concept of money will continue. Just remember that. Now, as we continue, we see a showcase of her house. The only people in her house are herself and her cat, Sora. It seems here that you can actually talk to your cat, and your cat basically just responds with a meow because, you know, it's a cat. And as the video goes on, we can see a tab on the side of the screen labeled conditions. These conditions apply to both Saori and Sora. Saori's being hunger, thirst, thrill, toilet, feminine hygiene, and her period cycle? That's kind of interesting, right? A little weird for a developer to add that in a game, but right under these conditions of Saori, we have Sora's conditions, which is just her food and toilet. So what is the point of these conditions? Like, what does this mean for you, the player? Well, under everything, there's a little note that says, basically, you need to take care of Saori as if she's in your real time. Like, she's a little anime girl that you have to take care of every day. Every single real-time day in your life, or else she will literally, well, die. It's kind of like taking care of a poo, except it doesn't die, you know, Pooh doesn't die, but Saori will die. But don't worry, you can always revive her, you know, it's not a big deal. So since you have to take care of Saori, the video showcases basically that, making sure she uses the toilet and, you know, takes a bath and all that stuff, which is kind of weird, honestly. I don't know why you would want to be in that stuff. It's kind of like invading her privacy, you know, even though she's not real. But maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just how I see it. Now that you know what Saori does at her house, at least in the anime version, that's basically all there is to it. Her house is just a place for her to be taken care of by the player. Now, entering the actual school, we are immediately welcomed by two freaking katanas on the floor and, you know, just a little innocent lady. Oh, I hope nothing bad happens to her, right? I mean, there's two katanas on the floor. As you probably would guess, Saori kills her with the katana. Also, take note of the style of this school. You can see that the color scheme is red and black based on the banners that we see at the entrance of the school. Just take a mental note of this choice. Then we see these little pop-ups, which this one in specific that I wanted to point out. It says, to-do list accomplished, look after bullies. Now, walking into this room, you are greeted with two NPCs who are handcuffed and duct taped to a chair. And on the board, we can see a message saying, why bullying is wrong? Lesson 1. And that's basically the end of the very first video on this YouTube channel. And if you think that wasn't cool enough, well, it gets even cooler. Looking at a few more videos after the first video, we can see improvements that the developer is making. These improvements are small, you know, just starting with little animations and making sure you can change your hair color and your uniform color. And you can even change your cat's fur color too. We can also see that the developer experimented with some stealth game modes, such as a survival mode, but this is the only appearance of the survival mode, so I don't think the developer wanted to keep that feature in. New mechanics such as being able to take showers was added, along with this NPC that looks exactly like your character, which doesn't seem to serve a specific purpose, so I'm pretty sure it was just a ragdoll that you can test your weapons on. But I want you to remember this NPC because she actually reappears later on. After many customization features were added to the game, such as changing hairstyles and hair physics being added, and also the ability to download and use textures for your character, we get a video called Schoolgirl Supervisor Anime Flashback. Let's play a 365 days old version, 0.9013. Let's play almost the very first version of Schoolgirl Supervisor. And this video actually does not lie. It really shows a really old, a way older version. Right off the bat, it has the same map, except it's a little bit more fuzzier looking. And the characters in the game have a sort of different movement style. However, this game actually has quests. It has a list of things you can do, such as finding things that you need. One of the quests actually has you find a dead body, which is in one of the lockers. And also in this video, there is a journal entry in one of the smaller lockers, which talks about I assume to be a murder scene, as it talks about blood being found in the bathroom floor. There's also a knife found in one of the trash bins, along with the stairs being blocked by this huge locker and a couple boxes. So right off the bat, you can kind of tell there's something going on, something that Saori should know about. Honestly, it feels like this older version has a clear depiction of what the developer wanted as a game. It kind of feels like the developer wanted to start off with a crime game or just a mystery game revolving around a murder in school. This concept is important. I want you to remember this because I will be talking about this and it will come up again later on in this video. So let's resume in the process of SSAnime. After all of this is uploaded, we finally get a new type of school. And in my opinion, this school is freaking massive. I mean, look at this school. It's really big compared to the other school that we had. This time we have a whole front yard and a backyard and just things that surround the school, kind of giving it more character. Again, we are welcomed by these red flags in front of the school. Here we also see the very first interaction that Saori has with NPCs. Her dialogue choices consist of tie/untie, talk, command, never mind, and flirt. As I'm showing you this footage, you can kind of tell that in this anime version, SSAnime, I'm gonna call it SSAnime because it's so long to say, SSAnime version, you can basically do whatever you want with these NPCs. You can tell them to sit down, you can handcuff them, you can duct tape them, you can literally kill them. You can also see these little dialogues that pop up above these NPCs' heads. I wanted to point that out because it actually stays in the game in further builds. Along with a new school, we also got a new neighborhood. Do you remember Saori's old house? Well, now she lives in a neighborhood with many different houses. Well, they all look the same, but they're supposed to be different houses. Honestly, this is really cool. It's called Dream Village and it kind of suits, the name suits how it looks. It looks dreamy and the roads are spirally and there's a whole playground in the middle. That's really cool in my opinion. And we can see this all displayed in one of the videos called Cinematic Dream Village Intro, which is the video I'm playing for you right now. After these changes, it seems like the game in general is starting to get better. As Dream Village was added to the game, Saori's house gained a new relevancy in the sense that it actually had quests that you can do. These quests were under the name Get Ready for School, and it consisted of finding your keys, lip gloss, and tampons, school books, a water bottle, vanishing cream, her ID card, and also her phone, a extra pair of underwear for some reason, a notebook, a school bag, and one last extra pair of underwear. After you got all her stuff, you'll gain a new quest called Place Your Possession. This quest basically has you go to school and put your items that you brought from your house in your locker and also on your desk. This quest is located in building A, 3rd floor, but I'm gonna play the footage for you anyway because in case you want to play this, on your own time and you still don't know what the freak I'm saying or you don't understand where building A or all of this stuff is, because I don't blame you. This game is really confusing at times and you don't know where things are located. So here's a map that I made just so that it helps you out a little bit, gives you a visual of what this game is, because honestly this game feels like a maze sometimes, so hopefully this helps. Anyways, after we place our possession, we finally get to find our handcuffs. And the weird thing about finding our handcuffs in this game is that it's never going to be in the same place all the time. The 3 possible places that you can find your handcuffs at is in your own locker where you previously placed your possession in, or in the desk located in front of your own desk, and lastly, in the second classroom's teacher podium. All of these locations are located in Building A, 3rd floor, so it's pretty easy to find it because it's all in one floor. Now, congratulations, you just found your handcuffs. All you need now is your handcuff keys, but that comes later in the story. After all of this, we are met face to face with the most beautiful blonde character in the whole freaking game named Midori Lin. Now, take a good look at Midori Lin. She is one of the most crucial NPCs to this game. If you look closely above her head, you can see a little bit of dialogue. Some of this dialogue consists of complimenting Saori of her work. Also, you can see dialogue of her kind of feeling self-conscious about something. Because of this, Saori goes ahead and talks to her. A story is revealed that basically Midori left something in the bathroom and she urgently needs it. The problem is, the bathroom that she left the item at is blocked. A blocked corridor. That sounds a little bit familiar. But before we go and look for that item, Saori decides to talk to Midori once again, asking her if she's seen a roll of duct tape. Saori needs this duct tape because it's actually part of her duty as a supervisor to obtain a roll of duct tape. By talking to Midori, she says you can try checking storage room B. Storage room B is located right next to building A. But the problem is, when we try opening or entering this room, it's locked, so we actually can't get in. Instead, we go to Sensei Risa Yuri. I hope I said that right. Sensei Yuri actually gives us permission to go to her own locker and retrieve her storage room B key. Her locker is located in building B, which is right across, well, it actually connects to building A, but instead of being on the 3rd floor, it's on the 2nd floor, past the library. Since Saori is already in the library, she decides to pick up her supervisor handbooks. But this is completely fine because this is another quest that you had to complete. After finding all the handbooks, however, you get a new quest called a note. But we'll get to the note quest in a little bit. After this, Saori goes to the 4th floor of building B in order to retrieve her handcuff keys. But the weird thing is that all these classrooms on this floor are filled with toilets and bathtubs, toilet paper, and all these things that would belong in a bathroom. This doesn't make any freaking sense, right? I mean, what's the purpose of this? Well, we can't answer that right now, so let's just move on. After Saori has all the things she needs, she heads back to storage room B and finds the roll of duct tape that she's been looking for. But she also brings along Midori. And that's because if you looked closely to the dialogue of Saori asking if Midori knew where a roll of duct tape could be found, Midori asks, "Why do you need the roll of duct tape?" And to Saori's response, she says, "I can show you once I've found it." Now, I know this sounds really weird and suspicious of Saori to say that to a student. And of course, you can choose any other dialogues, you don't have to choose this one, but you should, because this is the most best option that you can choose. I can't explain why it's the best option yet, but you'll see what I mean once the story unfolds even more. So once they're both in this storage room, Saori decides to handcuff and duct tape Midori to the chair. Not for any specific reason, but to show Midori what the duct tape would be used for, just like she promised she would. After this, all is well, Midori is unharmed, and you're starting your shift the way it should. However, we are forgetting something. The note that we found in the supervisor handbooks. So going to the storage room closest to the entrance of the school, we find 2 lockers. Upon opening the 2nd locker, we find this. A teddy bear with a bloody knife stabbed into it. That's pretty weird, to say the least. Understandably, Saori doesn't know what this is or what this means or who put this here and if it was even targeted towards her or someone else. And I understand her confusion. I mean, I would be so freaking confused too if I was in the situation. You then have an option to either pretend it never happened or report it to Sayama's online school incident system. Now, I'm not sure which one is the right answer, but it's safe to say that maybe reporting it is the better answer, because as a supervisor, you should always report something that doesn't seem right or might pose a potential threat to somebody who sees it. And with that, you're done with the game. I mean, at least for now, because this version only has 20 quests. Now, please hang on, because I really hope I'm not boring you with all this background info and history of the game. We're not done with SSAnime just yet. We're almost done, so please just hang on. After the story mode update dropped, we get a short interval of little updates that the creator decided to make. Then another huge update comes out, including new areas, more quests, and more NPCs. As this video starts, we get a look into what was added, which first starts off with something I probably shouldn't show on YouTube, but I'll talk about it later, don't worry. The second thing that we are shown is a gym. And the last thing we're shown is a whole new area, which includes a whole new building. This building is called Building G. Now, since we have all these new areas, we should probably add it to our map. Here we go. So this here, Building G, the gym, and a thing that I need to talk about later on in this video. Then, in another video, we get the feature of being able to take photos in-game. Then we get another huge update, which includes scouters. And I know you're probably wondering what a scouter is. Don't worry, we'll get there. Along with the scouters, we got new hats that you can unlock by doing certain quests, which I will also get to later on. And the last thing that is shown in this video is the inside of Building G, which we can actually see what it looks like inside and all the NPCs that hang around here. Now you're probably wondering, hey, whatever happened to that note that you found in the handbooks? I mean, who did that? It's important to note that even though it seems like the creator is just uploading updates and not really updating the storyline, there is still a storyline being updated, but it's just that the creator doesn't show that. You just have to play it to see it yourself. That's also the reason why things such as the scouter is being added and Building G is being added. It's not just for looks, it's for the storyline. The reason why you're not seeing any of the new quests is because the creator hasn't made a walkthrough yet. But he makes one later on, so no need to worry about that. I'll show you later. So after all these videos are uploaded to this channel, you can kind of see that this game actually looks pretty cool. It kind of has a story going on and it looks like it's getting a lot of progress done on it. The next few uploads consist of iOS testing. That's right, this game was never for iOS. It was always originally for Android devices. After the video published SSAnime iOS release now, we can finally have this game on iPads and iPhones. This is a really big W for... Why did I say that? This is a really good thing for the developer, because not only does this build the game's fandom by introducing the game to a whole new platform of players, but also it satisfies the players that already knew about the game and have been wanting it for iOS. There have been so many comments before the iOS release regarding their hopes for Saori Sato to be released to iOS, because seeing the game on YouTube looked really fun and they didn't think it was very fair that it was only for Android. But now it's finally on iOS, so everyone's happy for now. After these iOS updates, we get 2 videos regarding some minor updates, and after that, well, SSAnime goes silent. Now that we're done with this section, let's take a moment to analyze the game's differences and changes throughout the history that I've already covered. For starters, Sayori's house changed a lot, and its final product is actually way better than the first. It makes me wonder a little bit if this house is gonna be part of the story more as the game goes on. Second, we got a whole new school, and I think a better school. The vastness of the school is so promising, it makes you even more excited to play the game. Another difference we got that is the Sayama flag. This flag only changed in terms of the icon. This first icon, I had no idea what it meant, but thanks to somebody on Discord that I met through TikTok, I was able to be informed that that icon actually is a kanji for rice in Japanese. Why the game creator chose this kanji, I don't know, but hey, now I know what it means. But anyway, yeah, special thanks to Wabox. Sorry, I just don't want to offend anybody by pronouncing anything wrong. So hopefully I said that right. And this person is actually going to help me a lot more in this video. So this isn't the last time you're going to see them in this video. Back on the topic of the flags. The flags changed to this, well, I assume to be a panty. And I'm not completely sure why it was changed to a panty. I think it might have to do something with representing the femininity of the school, but it still kept the same color red. Another difference we see here is no bullies are being found anywhere in this newer version. I mean, compared to the 365 days old one, there's no bullies. Well, Saori is not really taking care of anybody in particular. But who knows, this might change later on. We might see some bullies. We never know. Another major difference I thought I'd point out, we don't see any blood or dead bodies or knives yet. Yet. And the last difference I wanted to point out was the actual importance of characters. Before, we didn't see a specific importance in characters, but now, in this newer version, we see an importance in two characters so far, which is Midori and Sensei Risayuri. Now that we've seen all the differences, let's take a look at what stayed. First of all, money is still being used, which could be said about anything, even in real life. It's still being used to support Saori in her everyday stuff. Another thing that stayed was the fact that we still have to take care of Saori like she's a little girl in our phone. She still has stats, meaning she still has hunger, she still has toilet. Another similarity that we see is a blocked corridor. And I say this because in the 365 days old version, we see a blocked corridor. And this version that I'm talking about right now, SSAnime, we see a blocked corridor. Another similarity we see is that the school is still full of quests. And the last similarity is that it still kind of maintains a horror/mystery aspect. I know that we haven't seen much in this game yet regarding horror/mystery, but seeing that teddy bear, that's a really good start on that. Despite everything though, we still got a mystery anime game taking place in high school following our main green-haired girl, Saori Sato. Congratulations, you made it to section 2. This second section is the second life of Saori Sato. This new rebranded name is Schoolgirl Supervisor Saori Sato Wildlife. It was always SSAnime and then now it's Wildlife. The first exposure of Wildlife on this YouTube channel is a video showcasing a horse. Saori Sato now has a freaking horse. That's freaking awesome. The horse's name is Sakura. Yeah, like the one in Naruto. Sadly though, this horse plays zero role in the game. I'm not even joking you, it's just there for you to ride. That's it. On the second video of Wildlife, we get a whole freaking... Okay, just pause for a second. This game got a whole walkthrough straight up right after being released. So you're gonna be learning a lot of info right now, if you didn't know already. On the main menu, we got story mode, surviving mode, and sphere skill tree. Sphere skill tree it sounds new, right? It's nothing really. It's just a freaking complicated tree-like diagram that you have to unlock with experience in order for you to be able to, well, most notably, unlock ordinary locks. I know that sounds so confusing. Don't worry about it, it's irrelevant now. We don't use it no more. Entering the game, we are at our house and we do the same quests that were in SSAnime. Every time you do a quest, you get XP, and don't worry about it, it's for the sphere skill tree. it's not a big deal. It's also evidence that you still have to take care of Saori because once leaving her home in the front yard, we see food and drinks and money and stuff, so you know, that didn't change. Also outside of her home, we see an NPC with white hair. Huh, she looks very familiar. Oh yeah, she was in SSAnime. Remember that one NPC that I told you to remember? Yeah, that's her. She's back. She serves as a guide for new players when talking to her. She tells you where to buy cat food and where to revive your cat and other things like that. When entering the schoolyard, we see the same layout, except the flag is not red anymore. It's a teal color now. When entering Building A, the developer stops for a second to grab something from a locker. We've actually never seen this locker being used before, so why does she have to collect this red card in this locker? Well, that becomes apparent later on also. But anyways, after that strange keycard level 1 scene, we go up to the 3rd floor to collect our handcuffs and to place our possession, which is basically the stuff that we did in SSAnime. Then we go ahead and find our supervisor handbooks. Then we go to the 4th floor to retrieve our handcuff keys in the toilet bowl. And while Saori is already in this classroom, she opens a locker behind her. The locker has a bolt cutter in it. If there's a bolt cutter here, that means we might have to use it for something, right? I mean, who's to say? Maybe we won't need it. After this, we go on our quest to find the storage room B key by talking to Risa Yuri and all that stuff that you already know. We also talk to Midori, talking about her losing her tampons in the bathroom and also activating the quest of finding the duct tape and showing her how to use it and all that stuff. Then finally, we have a new scenery.
In respect to getting closer to Midori, we take photos of Building G for her because she asks, including the bathroom. I think Midori has a bathroom.
After these photos, we're done with Midori for now, and then we decide to start our shift officially. In order to do this, we go talk to Yae Kamon. Keep in mind that you can only do this if you have your handcuffs, your handcuff keys, and your duct tape. If you don't have them, she'll send you away. In order to prove your worth of being a supervisor, however, she tells you that you need to wear a sailor black/white school uniform, along with black panties and black lens. And to top it off, a hat that she gifts you, which is in your locker. And that ends the first walkthrough video. Now it's time for the second walkthrough video. The walkthrough starts off with dressing Saori in the way that Sensei Kamon wanted. After talking back with Sensei Kamon, she tells us that she's very proud of us and she's deciding to give us another hat. She then sends us off to talk to Eiko, or Aiko, however you want to say it. She's the one that gifts us with our first scouter. According to her, she says that the scouter will help us recognize and identify students way faster. After retrieving your scouter, the developer decides to go back and ask about the scouter. Basically, asks about what kind of features are available for Saori. Basically, this quest leads you to get a scouter extension in order to see more information about the students. This quest is not really mandatory. I mean, you don't have to do it, but if you want a second scouter, then you should do it. You'll have the scouter on both your eyes, which is actually really freaking cool. So if you're asking me, you should do this quest. Then we go to Building A and we get introduced to another character. This character has blue pigtails and her name is Misa Hinasaki. Similarly to Midori, she also has dialogue that pops up above her head once in a while. And so because of this, Saori decides to talk to her. When talking to her though, she asks you, do you think life is fair? And you can answer by saying, well, or, I'd say so. This is all up to you, whatever you want to say. Ideally, you would choose the, well, option. But our input is very useless to Misa. But before she leaves you, she tells you that she lost her magician hat. So we decide to take Misa on top of the roof of Building B. Here she explains that she lost her hat in this exact spot due to a strong gust of wind. And she also asks you to do her math homework, and you have a choice either to say yes or no, but if you say yes, then you get her magician hat as a gift. So really, this quest is not important at all, only if you really want to get closer to Misa and want the magician hat for your character. In order to do her math homework, you have to go to your desk and fill out the right answers to these questions. If you plan on playing this on your own time, these are the right answers, okay? So you don't have to do any math, just copy this. And yeah, I know the last question is so freaking weird. I know, I didn't make this game, okay? So back to finding Misa's magician hat, we go to the gym, and upon trying to open one of the doors on the left side, it's locked. But in the video, we see that you can actually crawl under the stage. You can find a combination code. This code is for a safe located in the gym also, and it's just the key to the door that you couldn't open before, so that was pretty easy, right? And right there under the tree lies Misa's magician hat. When talking to Misa after finding her hat, we give her math homework, and she says that she loves us. She actually loves us. 'Cause every time we touch, I get this In this same area, if you turn around, you'll see these torture devices. Stock's punishment is what it's called. I know this is a very sinister find, but it doesn't really have a role in the game yet, so we can ignore it for now, but I promise you we'll be talking about this later. Then we decide to make our way to Building B, 2nd floor. Here, we retrieve the hat that Sensei Kamon decided to give us. But after lifting the hat, we find a small note. Well, that's just great, another note. What is it gonna be this time, another bear? When we examine it, this is what it says. I warned you, you stupid fool. Why didn't you listen to me? She's going to screw up. She will fail. She will destroy everything the school stands for. She is weak and obsessed by the power. She's spoiled and mad. She is revengeful and just waiting for someone to make a mistake. I know her. Her name is Akane Maki. I found one of her sick diary entries. She must have lost this page. I hid it in storage room A. I placed it behind the guillotine blade. Maybe it's still there when you read this. I didn't have time to hide it anywhere else or putting it into this locker. It was my last day. Goodbye, Sayama. Did you like my voice acting? Okay, pause. So much just happened right now. We now know about someone named Akane Maki, and apparently, according to that note, she's a horrible person. After reading that note, we get a new quest section named Akane Maki, and the first quest there is called Akane's Diary Entry. After that, when you finally catch all the little cats, you come across another horrific sight. By looking at the map, we can see engine room A and a whole crane next to it. Looking at the wall, we can see a very noticeable hole in the floor. So Saori, I don't know why, but she decides to go down that hole. And there is where we find this. A freaking severed arm. That's just crazy. Whose arm is this? You would think that this is part of a whole investigation. Like, why is there a severed arm here? Did somebody commit a murder? No. Saori doesn't even question it, actually. She just says, I'm not gonna touch this, I need gloves. And that ends the second part of the walkthrough video. Now it's time for the third part. Don't worry, there's only 4. This walkthrough starts off with going into Building B, 2nd floor, and once reaching the bathroom at the very end of the hall, you discover a very horrific message on the wall.
Oh, hell no.
In order to deal with this, we go to Building A, 2nd floor, to talk to Saya Jean. When telling her about the graffiti, she tells us that we need to immediately install cameras in the bathrooms. She tells us that we can find cameras in engine room B, but we would need a key for that engine room, so she tells us to go to the information lobby, and there we can retrieve the key inside the safe. Okay, so far we got 2 new areas, information lobby and engine room B. In this engine room, we collect 4 small spy cameras. We then install the cameras on the roofs of every bathroom on every floor in Building B. After checking back with Saya Jean, she tells us that we have to clean off the graffiti ourselves. We are also instructed to activate the spy cameras within the computer room on Building B, 3rd floor. And by the way, the cleaning supplies used to clean the graffiti is located on Building B, 4th floor in the room next to the bathroom. After cleaning the graffiti, you can't help but realize there's something going on. Something weird is happening behind the scenes at this school. First of all, who's Akane Maki, and who wrote that note, and who wrote that graffiti in the bathroom? It's pretty obvious that we can't answer any of these questions, but the one thing that we can answer is, who's Akane Maki? Do you remember that card that Saori grabbed from her locker when entering Building A? Well, that card unlocks the only locked door in Building B, 3rd floor. This door has never been opened by us yet, and what lies behind it is something we don't know. So what do? We open the door, and what we see behind this door is something I will never forget seeing for the first time as a young child. A girl with blue hair, chained up in the most uncomfortable position. She's dressed so strangely in a swimsuit and nothing else. A tray placed right beneath her pelvis. You can tell she's been here for quite a while. When talking to her, this is what she says. What happened here? Are you okay? Hey, it's a little hard to talk in this position, but please. It's okay. Save your strength. I'm gonna call help right away. No, wait! What? Don't go, just please listen to me first. Just Listen to me, please. I can't stand your suffering. I'm gonna call help right away. No, if you go now, you will make everything worse. Worse? Yes, you came too late. You can't fix it anymore. Nobody can. Could you tell me more? Well, this might sound odd, but please don't tell anyone what you have seen here. Of course I won't. I meant you must not tell anyone, including all teachers, supervisors, and principals. Do you understand? Including teachers? I don't know if that's a good idea. They must know about this. No, never. If they knew about this, they will start to question the students. And then it'll be too late. Too late for what? Please tell me. Your secret is going to be my secret. I can't say. It's embarrassing. It's fine. You don't need to feel that way. I will understand. I was doing something and they took pictures. They took videos. They will make them public. They will send it to everybody at the school, to every student and teacher, spreading it on the internet. I wish you have not entered this room, but I'm sure we can work this out somehow. The most important thing is to not tell anyone about this. Do you understand? For now, I won't tell anyone. Thank you. May I ask for your name? Just call me Saori. Thank you, Saori-chan. I will always remember your decision. Can you tell me yours? It's Akane. Akane Maki. Oh my gosh, that was crazy, and I hope you liked my voice acting once more. I decided to narrate it. You're welcome. This Akane Maki that we found written about, she's actually here right now. Saori is focusing on trying to free her because she can't stand seeing her in that position and that state. But since she can't untie her with her handcuff keys, she decides to go look for a bolt cutter. And this is a little secret quest that you can do if you're still watching. If you talk to her again after your first encounter and you ask her, why are you wearing a swimsuit? And if you compliment her in it and all that stuff, she'll offer to give it to you once she's freed. So if you want a swimsuit to put on your avatar, go ahead and do this, but it's not mandatory. So, do you remember that bolt cutter that we found? Yeah, we actually need it now. So once you grab it and we go back to Akane, we free her. And this is the dialogue that commences afterwards. Oh, you wanted me to read it? Oh yeah, no, sit down. I'll read it for you. I did what you've... I already messed up. I did what you have been begging for, Akane. No one knows what happened here so far. Thank you so much, Saori. Well, now it's your turn. You owe me answers, Akane. I am the new supervisor at the school, and this situation could get me in lots of trouble. I know. Moreover, today is even my first day, which makes it even more uncomfortable for me. You better do have a good excuse for all of this. I'm going to tell you everything you want to know, but first of all, I need to know if you trust me. What? Trust. A simple question. I'm gonna ask you. Do you trust me? Yes. Alright then. You don't mind if we play a little trust game? Trust game? Yes! It's basically very simple. I am going to handcuff your hands, duct tape your legs to this chair, then I'm going to blindfold you and leave this room for 5 minutes. When the time is up, I'll come here right away and release you. I'll buy you a snack and we can be close friends for good. What do you say? Let's do it? I don't know. Why are you hesitating? You said you trust me, didn't you? Did you lie to me? I will never tell you my entire secret if I don't know whether you trust me or not, Saori. This is really important for me. Is this game really necessary? Absolutely. So I'm gonna ask you again. Can I handcuff, duct tape you, and blindfold you? I promise it won't hurt. Okay, let's do it then. After you comply with Akane's wishes, she goes ahead and does exactly what she said she was gonna do. You're sitting here in the room by yourself, locked in here, handcuffed, duct taped, and blindfolded. However, before Akane leaves, she says, this will take longer than 5 minutes because there's something I have to do first. She also says that she cannot free us because we will try to stop her or, even worse, get involved into her situation. She's begging us to stay out of the situation and trying to beg us to have no one else get into this situation, and based on that, her situation must be very, very bad and serious. But we don't know what her situation is yet, so all we can do is sit here and wait for her to come back. As Saori is left alone, she starts to wonder inside of her head. We get 6 options, all of them labeled as wait, except for one, which is labeled thinking on Midori. When clicking thinking on Midori, this is what she says. After this, we're left with all the other wait buttons, and upon clicking them, we just see Saori basically talking to herself and wondering what she's gonna do once Akane comes back. Is she gonna arrest her? Is she gonna hit her? She's just really desperate, really, to get out of this situation. Until we hear an unknown girl's voice. And through the very blurry background, we see a full head of yellow. It's Midori! Midori takes off her blindfold, and Saori decides to apologize for the duct tape incident that happened earlier that day in storage room B. Even though Saori was just showing her what the duct tape was used for, she still felt guilty and thinks it's wrong now thinking back on it, because Saori, being tied up for quite a while, realizes it's not fun being tied up like this. But Midori doesn't really mind. She says that she was actually kind of excited to see us and she wants to meet us tomorrow again. Of course, you have the option to decline her or accept her offer. If you decline it, well, nothing happens. But if you accept it, well, consider yourself a lucky man because you just got yourself a date, buddy. Anyways, while Midori is trying to free you from your handcuffs, we realize that Akane took the handcuff keys, so you can't be freed unless you use the bolt cutter. And so she uses the bolt cutter, but unfortunately that means Saori's handcuffs are destroyed. Saori starts to question Midori, asking her, how did you know? How the freak did you know that I was in here? It's then revealed that Akane slid a level 2 keycard under the bathroom stall towards Midori. Akane told Midori that she could find Saori locked in here and, well, allowed her to free her. But since Akane slid the keycard under the stall, Midori doesn't know Akane is here, or even that Akane gave her the keycard in the first place. And that concludes the discussion between Saori and Midori. But before we leave, Midori tells us something quite concerning. She tells us that she saw something on the first floor of Building A and was too scared to go investigate herself. Before we go and investigate the first floor, we decide to purchase new handcuffs because ours were broken with the bolt cutter. And upon walking into the first floor of Building A, we see a trail of blood. A decapitated body. By viewing this body, Saori can tell that this body belonged to Akane. She then notices something in her right hand, which is an instant photograph. By looking at this photo, we can see Akane appearing to be handcuffed on a chair with some type of tray in her lap, accompanied with, I believe to be, the C word. And the caption of this photo is, "Everyone gets what they deserve." Looking at the top right corner of this photo, we can see a fraction. This fraction says something out of 4. So now Saori knows that there's at least 3 other photos that she can possibly find. Saori decides to look around the corridor to find any type of weapon used, and to her surprise, she finds a bloody knife in the bathroom on the same floor. After finding the knife, she brings Saya Jean to the scene. Sensei Jean starts to question Saori and asking her who is she and where's her head, and to your option, you can either choose to tell her the truth about Akane or to not tell her about Akane. In this tutorial video, they choose to tell the truth, so if I were you, if you're playing this by yourself, you should probably also tell the truth. To our surprise, Sensei Jean actually knows who Akane is and tells us that Akane used to be one of the previous supervisors. We are then instructed to go study the files of Akane located in Building G. And that was the end of the 3rd part of the walkthrough. Now it's time to cover the last part of the walkthrough. This walkthrough opens with something we haven't seen before, which is the change in days. Before, we were on Monday, and now we can choose to be on Tuesday. When entering the map, we can see the scouter being used in action for the first time. We then make our way to storage room A, and this is where the quest with the teddy bear happens, and you've already seen it, but that's not the only thing that's in this room. If we look on the side shelf behind one of the guillotine blades, we find a journal entry. And I would read this for you, but Jesus Christ, this has some diabolical stuff in it, so I'd rather you read it yourself. After you read it, you have the option to either understand her or think she's completely batshit crazy, but that's up to you. Now is the time to go retrieve our new handcuffs that we purchased. It should be in our locker, so we make our way to our locker, but we unexpectedly find a parcel from Akane. Along with the parcel, there's a note, and in the note, Akane says that she knows that she's dead and she's happy now. She also apologizes for the way she treated Saori, and she only did what she did in spite of revenge for being hurt so many times. And here is also where if you did the secret quest to get her swimsuit, you also retrieve it here in the parcel. At the end of the note, Akane encourages Saori not to get involved and to forget all about this. Wow, that's truly heartbreaking. But what about the handcuffs? Are they in here too or what? We get a letter saying that our handcuffs were too big to put in the locker, so they delivered it in Building G. But this is bad for Saori because in Building G, packages are reviewed, and if it doesn't relate to school, you can get in some good trouble. Saori could get in trouble because she's not supposed to be going through handcuffs like that. Furthermore, they would probably question her on why or how she broke her handcuffs. While on her way to go pick up her handcuffs from Building G, she finally decides to report the incident with the teddy bear that was found in Engine Room A. While talking to Aiko, which is the girl in charge of the parcels and packages, we are trying our best not to end up filling out the form for the package because then they would know exactly what we ordered. So Aiko actually makes a deal with us and would let us take the parcel without having to fill out a form if we found her missing earrings in the gym. Finding her earrings is very easy. All you have to do is climb under the stage, just like how you did to find the combination code for the safe. Once we find it, we give it to Aiko and she gives us the parcel key. And we have successfully grabbed our handcuffs without any suspicion. Yes! And that is the end of the last part of the walkthrough. We did it! There is no more quests so far on Akane or anything else, so we can't find her head yet and we can't find any other instant photos yet. As the game progresses, the creator decides to bring in a whole new area, which is the Sayama Hills Forest. And then we get a weird video called Schoolgirl Supervisor Special. Important information, the uncensored story. There's a lot to unpack in this video. From what we can understand, there has been a special edition of Saori Sato that you could have bought. This special edition was in the Google Play Store, but apparently there was a complaint about the game, and the excuse was violence. As you continue to read this page, you can tell that the creator of the game is pissed. Since the special edition is basically banned on Google Play, the creator decides, hey, this means I can add whatever I've always wanted in my game without Google Play guidelines getting in the way. So the creator actually continues by showing you how to actually buy and activate the special edition. And you're probably wondering, what did this person that he's talking about possibly report? You know, the violence claim? Well, actually, it's been right in your face this whole time. The guillotine, the gallows, and all the other killing methods have been in this game, and you probably haven't even noticed most of it. You probably thought that this game is going to be a cute game with no violence. Well, there's a lot of violence, especially in the early builds of this game. Before the Google Play Store made a whole fuss about violence being portrayed in video games, this game had weapons you can use on the NPCs, and let me tell you, it was pretty gory, especially the execution methods. Just look at this. Not even sure if I'm supposed to be showing this on YouTube, so I'm gonna blur it a little bit, but yeah, you can probably tell what's happening. In the early builds, it seems like you can basically kill these NPCs for no reason, just for pure gratification. But ever since the Google Play Store's concern about the violence, the developer decided to take it down a notch and remove all executions. So technically the only violence or quote-unquote gore that is seen in this game is the Akane quest. quests, and also the weird random bloody places you'll find around the school. However, even though the executions were removed, the execution machines still remain in the school. So the next time you wonder why everything was removed from the game, well, it's because of App Store violations. There's nothing else to it. At this point in time, the only action that you can get close to being able to kill someone is a lethal punch. But other than that, there's no more violence. Personally, I have never bought this special edition in my life, so I don't really know what this special edition has to offer. I talked to Webbox on Discord again, and I found out that he still has this special edition, so I was able to find out some information about it. By going off this list right here, I decided to ask if the developer decided to add any elements that he listed in this. I learned that panty shots were not added, but nudity was, and that's apparently because the fan base wanted that. But I'm not sure if that's true or not. It could be true though, because this fan base is kind of full of people who would like that. There's a video by Rom on YouTube that shows all the differences in special edition. There's a nude model available as well as no ads, and there are still weapons and you can still execute people. And just like the developer talked about, there is a more cruel dismemberment of the body parts. Another feature is being able to throw heads and put them in a shopping cart. And that's really the difference between special edition and the edition you would find in an app store. Because really, special edition is the same. It has the same quests and the same story, except it has features that aren't allowed on the app store. So that's really all the differences. Now you're probably wondering why the developer didn't just make a whole new game that didn't involve high school or any type of school setting and violence, so that, you know, the app store wouldn't make a fuss about it. Well, he has made a couple games like that. And when I say a couple, I mean only 2 games. The first one is Tactical Schoolgirls, which, yeah, how did that pass by if it's called Schoolgirls? But this game has been around with no issues for as long as Saori Sato has been alive, so roughly 8 years. The second game is called Survival Simulator Multiplayer. This game came out a little later. Personally, I wasn't very hot about this game. I was more hot on Tactical Schoolgirls, but yeah, this game is about basically shooting zombies, and it's kind of gross looking, the zombies and the monsters, so I think that's also why I didn't want to play it. It just was kind of gross. But yeah, Tactical Schoolgirls played a huge role in Saori Sato anime actually, because the medals that you would earn in Tactical Schoolgirls would go towards Saori Sato anime, so it kind of connected in that sense. And that's also why it's also one of my favorites, a nostalgic game. Both of them are really good. But anyways, I got a question for you. When I was talking about the violence in the game, did you by any chance think about Yandere Simulator? Because if you did, it's okay. I would be surprised if you didn't think about Yandere Simulator at the very beginning of this video. Especially because I started off my video with that Yandere Simulator skit. And I mean, honestly, the models, the anime girls, the violence, the school setting, you can't help but not think about Yandere Simulator. Yandere Simulator started off 10 years ago, while this game started around maybe 8 years ago. So you're thinking maybe this game copied Yandere Simulator, but I would argue to disagree with you. Yes, this game uses similar models and characters, and yes, it's in high school, but no, it's not about Yandere girls, and it's not about boys, and it's not about jealousy, well, you know, in the sense of a Yandere girl, but, you know, it's a whole different game, a whole different story, a whole different idea. And I'm gonna say this, and I don't know if you're gonna be mad at me or what, but I think Saori Sato is better than Yandere Simulator. I'm just saying, that's my belief. So no, personally, I think this game did not intend to copy Yandere Simulator, but I know, it looks similar, but really it's not. Now, if you've been around for quite a while, you'll know that the iOS App Store is way more strict, so you can just imagine how much trouble it was to get Saori Sato on the App Store. You know how I mentioned that kind of later on, it was barely added to iOS after it's been on Android for quite a while during the SSAnime phase. Well, I'm thinking because of the iOS guidelines and all that, it would explain why it was delayed, you know, why it was not on Apple to begin with. And just one thing to be clear, the reason why I started off this video with the Yandere Simulator mention is because as a kid, I loved Yandere Simulator. I was one of those weird kids who would watch that game. I would watch Markiplier. You know exactly what I'm talking about. As that type of kid growing up, I looked up Yandere Simulator on my literal Android tablet to hopefully find Yandere Simulator on the App Store, but you know, of course I didn't. But guess what I found instead? A bunch of these high school simulator games, including Saori Sato. Hopefully that explains the entire skit purpose. Also, if you're still curious about the special edition, you can always go to the Saori Sato Patreon page where you can find a link to the special edition download. Thank you so much for Wobox for showing me this link, because I honestly never knew where the link was. I thought that this special edition was lost to time, but apparently it's not. So if you want to try it out, go ahead by all means. This special edition is only for Android devices, so if you're like me and you play on Apple, I'm sorry, but you can't play it unless, I don't know, you jailbreak your phone or something. I don't know how that works. I have never activated the special edition before, so I'm sorry, but that's one of the things I cannot help you with if you decide to download this and you have an Android. So it looks like we've learned some new things so far. We learned that Saori Sato is rebranded under a new name, but it still maintains the same story. We got more content, which means more quests for us to do, especially the horror build-up that leads to Akane's quests. We got a new flag color, and by looking at the Discord deleted content channel, we can see that the creator intentionally was going to make Saori's hair red, which also explains why the flags were also red to begin with. But now, since Saori's hair is changed to green, we get a teal color flag. We've got new characters, and we also learned about this special edition as well as the removal of violence. And lastly, by looking at the Patreon page of this game, we can see that the creator of this game goes by the name Mr. NOWAY. So for now on, when I'm referring to the creator of this game, I'll just say Mr. NOWAY so that you know what I'm talking about, and it makes it way easier. But let's just forget about all this censorship and special edition for now, because we still have a long way to go with this game's story. Well, Wildlife was not as long as SSAnime, that's for sure. Towards the end of the Wildlife era, we get a few video updates saying that Akane's story continues, but the video does not showcase anything related to the Akane quests or anything more. Another thing that's new is the Building B 4th floor gate, and another thing that is showcased in these videos is the barking method, which if you were to have an NPC follow you or arresting them and having them in a secluded place, they will start to quote-unquote bark information that can be useful to you and your investigation. Also, towards the end of Wildlife, we see an expanded / new dream village scenery. We can see that only Sayori's house remains and the rest is a bunch of greenery and some rusty looking apartment houses. Lastly, this is the last time you will see the game having the feature of having to take care of Saori basically every day of your life. Because in the new versions, which comes after Wildlife, that's taken away, which honestly, it's way less stressful and you don't have to worry about it, and it makes it easier to play in my opinion. So let's say goodbye to Wildlife. It's been a pleasure learning about it, but now we're going on to the next section. I'm gonna be honest, this next section was like one of the most difficult sections to organize in the way that I would have to talk about it to make sense. And the YouTube channel does not make this any easier because these thumbnails are super colorful and all over the place, so I'm gonna try my best to cover this the best I can. If you're a newer Saori Sato player, this might hit a little bit closer to home for you. We're gonna be talking about JP, Schoolgirl Supervisor Multiplayer. That's right, this game is yet again rebranded under a new name. And this time, we have multiplayer servers. We had multiplayer servers for the zombie game, but now we have multiplayer for Saori Sato's story mode. What could go wrong in a Saori Sato multiplayer server? Nothing. Nothing. This JP trailer shows absolutely nothing about the game. It just looks like the same game, except NOWAY is just running around in a bikini the whole time. So because these YouTube videos show really nothing about the story mode, I'm just gonna take you back myself. We don't need any of this Mr. NOWAY footage. Let's take a moment to recall what previously happened regarding the story mode. We met Akane, but for some reason, after our interaction with her, we find her headless. We still need to find her head, 3 more photos, and a couple more diary entries. And since JP is basically the newer version of this game, that means we can actually find her head and find these photos and everything. This Akane quest is finally gonna make sense after all. First, before we go to Tuesday, we have to do something on Monday, which honestly you can do this on Tuesday. It doesn't matter which day you do it on, but it makes more sense to do it on Monday. And that thing is to find Akane's file in Building G. When we successfully find her file, we find out some information about her. Most interestingly, that she has a sister. We also find out that she has an interest in sports, arts, and law. We find out that she was the leader of the local swimming team, and most notably, she was part of the photography club. After finding this out, Saori decides maybe the best thing to do right now to find out possible information about Akane is to join the photography club. And at the bottom is her leaving reference, which is completely crossed out. Now, still on Monday, we decide to go pick up our flashlight. Flashlight? But there's plenty of light outside. We don't need a flashlight. Well, let me introduce to you the night shift quest. In addition to Saori Sato's supervisor role, she has to do night shifts every day. So, after talking to Yae Kamon, we activate the night shift quest. And this is an optional thing you can do. You can go check for additional batteries, though you won't actually need any additional batteries. This is just a way to get a secret quest in order to get these cute little fox ears for your character. So again, this is optional, so don't worry. If you don't do this quest, your flashlight won't go off on you because you don't have any extra batteries. Another optional quest that you can do is to find a blindfold. This relates to the night shift because you're supposed to meet Ran Aima in the Sayama forest at night on Monday. This is a whole completely different optional quest. You don't need to do this one, but if you want to, go ahead. She just has you take a picture of a yellow butterfly in exchange for her own blindfold that's found in her locker. I forgot to mention that there's another side quest when you find Akane's file. There's gonna be this one lady in all blue, and when talking to her, she has you dress up in a way that she wants you to, and in exchange, you can get a little badge for your character. Another side quest, just, to take care of all the side quests right now. In the night shift on Monday, there's gonna be a girl named Aimi Nagani. I think that's how you say it. This girl is, for some reason, at night at school in the pool area, which she could get in trouble for, but Saori decides to go easy on her and talk to her. She has some weird monkey plushie with her in a stroller, and she seems to, pretend it's real. She's definitely one of the more peculiar characters in this game. But anyway, this quest basically has you find pacifiers. In return, you get to keep them for your character, I know it's a little weird. I didn't make this game. Anyways, I'm pretty sure that's all the side quests for now. Let's actually get into the actual night shift. In the menu, we can choose Monday nighttime as long as you have your flashlight with you. And in the quest log, it says that we need to start off with Building A, first floor, second floor, and third floor. Secondly, we go to Building B and we check first floor, second floor, third floor, fourth floor, and the roof. The last thing we check is the gym. So we basically set off, and honestly, I'm gonna point it out right now, the night shift is so scary. You can't really see a lot, and the hallways look like someone could come chasing towards you. So I'm not gonna lie, I was definitely a little bit scared the first time I did the night shift. Anyways though, everything goes according to plan, nothing goes wrong. The night shift is a breeze. Though we still see Akane's body there, which Saori finds a little weird because she would expect somebody to at least take her out of there. Another worry for Saori is making it to building B, 3rd floor, because it scares her a little bit to remember that that's where she met Akane. But she goes up there, and right next to Akane's door is the checklist. As she's signing the checklist, she starts to remember and miss Akane, and she just wishes things were different, basically. But right in the middle of her thoughts, we get this weird noise. Just take a listen. A weird howling noise coming from the floor above us. Now that's kind of freaky, not gonna lie. We go up there and everything's good, but once we reach the checklist, which is all the way at the end of the hallway near the stairs, a really creepily placed isolated locker opens by itself. Another freaking teddy bear. Saori has to go home. She has to see what this note is all about, and when we go home, it's still creepy, it's still nighttime, her house is dark for some reason, she couldn't turn on her own lights. When we go to the baby room, which the note directed us to go check, we find something, just take a look for yourself. Somebody, and we don't know who, placed Akane's head in our crib. This is beyond a sick joke, honestly, at this point. But we have to remember that Saori is still doing her night shift, so we have to go back to school and finish the shift. So when we go back, we sign the 4th floor, then the roof, and then we finally go to the gym. After this, well, that's it. We don't really do anything about the head yet, but Saori decides she's not gonna sleep in her own home because, understandably, she feels uncomfortable because the head is still there. And after that, well, that's the end of Monday nighttime. Wow, that was a lot to unpack. Let's go to Tuesday. Let's hope things are better on Tuesday. So Tuesday, you can either start this off with meeting Midori and basically dating her if you did all the quests that you need to activate this dating quest. But if you didn't, it's okay. You don't need to do this dating quest. So after that, we go back and try to solve all this Akane business. We decide first to find the 3 other photos. Do you remember that one gate that was added to building B, 4th floor? Well, we soon find out that Ayumi Haru was quote-unquote in charge of this decision. She claims it's part of a discipline tactic. She then says she wishes she could see more of the school, even the restricted areas, which then prompts her to ask you for a trade. She promises a very valuable secret in exchange for 50 basement B photos. And once you comply, well, get ready to see some really messed up stuff. I am actually so excited to start talking about Basement B because despite it being super creepy and weird and just horrible, it's also one of my favorite areas in this game because of its shock value and just how absurd and bizarre it is. Under this entire campus lies a very vast basement, and it's not just a regular basement, no. To say it simply, kinda like a prison under the school. You can find the entrance to the basement in Building B 1st floor. Right off the bat, we see so many cameras pointing towards us and this really creepy ambient sound is playing. There's a lot of strange lighting choices. Some areas are fully green, some areas are fully pink, some areas are fully red, and some areas are, for the most part, normal looking, while others are super dark. It's almost impossible to navigate around here because it feels like a maze. Some hallways look very promising, but then they just lead you to a unexpected dead end. There are so many, and I mean so many signs that say stop here or do not enter, no trespassing, and it almost makes you feel a little bit guilty for even being here in the first place. It feels like you're not even supposed to be seeing any of this, even though you are the supervisor. If you look far enough, you'll find some really strange captivity devices, such as these cages. You'll find literal cells and these weird isolation rooms that have the effect of, if you're the person in these isolation rooms, you cannot see anything outside, but people outside can see you. The thing I found the most weird and crazy about this type of isolation method is that there are toilet rooms that you have to be in and that people can basically watch you in. There is interrogation rooms, which, like I said, feels just like if you were in a prison. Yeah, this school was weird when it had execution machines, but now this game has gotten way worse. These hallways are so lonely and eerie. I wouldn't be surprised if something just started chasing you under here. I also wouldn't be surprised if there was someone held captive under here. How crazy it would be to find somebody held captive under here, just like how we found Akane. Fortunately though, there's nobody in here at all besides staff workers. I know you can agree with me when I say this basement is super warped. It's not organized and it really has no structure at all. All these rooms look different from each other, and some of them just, I don't even know if they can be counted as a room or a hallway at all. And if you're wondering if this basement is new, no, it's not. It's been here since SSAnime. But in SSAnime, we didn't really need to go down there, so why was it there in the first place? It makes you question, what the freak is this basement, and why is it here, and is it gonna be part of the story? Why is there so much isolation chambers and these weird rooms? Is this all part of disciplining bullies? Locking them up when they need to be? Okay, let's get out of this basement. Now that we have 50 photos, let's go talk to Ayumi Haru. After we show Ayumi the basement photos, we have her follow us to the storage room on Building B, 4th floor, next to the bathroom. Here, she confesses that the toilet classrooms were not her idea at all. It was actually the idea of one of her good friends. This friend of hers decided that the new way of punishment for bullies would be to embarrass them in a collective way. She then says that she and her friend have not talked in such a long time, and over time, Ayumi noticed that her friend wasn't herself anymore, a little bit more gloomier and quieter. She says that she found a disturbing photo of her friend on campus, and she wanted to tell us because she didn't know what to do with it. She says that we can find it in the engine room A locker. She also says that Miku Salami has found another one, but seems to be denying it. She also says Miyu Amakura might know something about another photo. Before we leave this conversation, however, Saori asks what her friend's name was, and to Ayumi's response, she says, Akane Maki. We now know that Ayumi was Akane's friend, and she just gave out the locations and people who can help us find the other photos. Following Ayumi's directions, we go to engine room A and find the third Polaroid photo taken out of the 4. Saori is very confused, of course, because she doesn't know the context of this photo and wants to say she's on Akane's side, but really, she doesn't know what Akane did to deserve this. The next person that we have to talk to is Miku Salami. When handcuffing and duct taping her to a chair, she starts to bark information. She says that she found a photo in the library. How does Miku know this? I don't know, but we go to the library and sure enough, in the small room, we find another photo. This photo is 2 out of 4, and it seems to be that Akane is drinking some type of yellow liquid. And to find the last photo, we talk to Mio. After some some interrogation, she tells us that we can find something at the Building B first floor prison gate. And sure enough, this Building B first floor prison gate room is the entrance to the basement. In the corner is a desk in which we find the 4th photo. And with that, we found all of the photos. Do they tell us a whole lot about the situation? No, but it does tell us that someone or a group of people were behind all of this. We know this because of the nature of the photos, but also because of the fact that these photos were scattered around the school, meaning there had to be somebody placing these photos. Now that we found all the photos, let's find the diary entries. In our quest log, it says that we can talk to Misa, Kaya, Miku, and Midori to find out the possible locations of these diary entries. Talking to Misa, she tells us that Akane used to love the swimming team, so we decide to check out the pool area for any possible information. Here's the location of the pool on the map. When we enter the pool room and go into one of the side rooms, we can find a diary entry in the locker closest to the door. From the diary contents, we can tell that Akane had some altercations with another student, which resulted the student to cry and whine and all of this stuff, which made Akane feel almost bad for her and questions if she used too much force, to which she ends up denying and says that she deserves it because she didn't comply. We find out that Akane ordered that student to be kept in a jail with higher security. Akane says that she wants to show this school that she can be strict, but also forgiving. At the end of this diary entry, she says that she'll visit the student the next day and see how she does. And if she quote-unquote behaves correctly, then she'll let her out earlier than expected. And that's the end. Now it's time to go talk to the next student, Kaya Teji. This student actually is in Building G as one of the door guards. We find out that Kaya was actually good friends with Akane and that Akane was reportedly very nice and generous, but she also expected the same towards her. So if Akane was nice to you, she would expect you to be nice to her in return. Akane seemed to be a great supervisor because apparently, according to Kaya, the bullying rates dropped to 0 when she was in charge. Kaya asks us if we've met her recently, and to which I replied, yes, I have. And it's so sad because she's like, oh, you know what? Tell her next time we meet up, I'll bring the cake this time. And she remembers her favorite cake flavor, and it's just like, she has no idea that she's dead, and it's really sad. She tells us that Akane used to swim in the river behind Building G towards a couple of the islands. Going to the Ruins Island, we find another diary entry. This entry has more of a darker nature to it. Akane says that she was going to forgive the student, but as she was releasing her from her handcuffs, the student started to attack. Akane decides, I'm not gonna be forgiving anymore, everyone's gonna see my true power. Akane requests that she's put in a straitjacket, along with putting her in the basement with high surveillance, as well as an electroshock helmet in case she misbehaves. Akane is very confident in her discipline ways. And that's the end of that one. Next up on the list is Miku Salami, and you're not gonna like this girl. Well, I don't like her, so... Miku is so annoying when you talk to her. She's like,
oh, I know nothing. You got it? Nothing.
She's acting really stupid and dumb on purpose. After we threaten to handcuff her and duct tape her, though, she tells us something about a trash can next to the end of the road. So we finally got something out of this cold cut Miku, so now we can finally leave her. God, I hate that girl. In the diary entry found at the end of the road, we can see that the student Akane is dealing with is still attacking. But after 3 days on electroshock therapy, her eyes got softer and her attitude became way better. But Akane still felt a little bit bad for her because she can tell that she was on edge and scared for every word she spoke. Because if she didn't speak in the right way, she would get shocked. Even though Akane transformed this student into a better person, she wonders if there could have been a softer and less cruel way. She worries that she might have not made her a better person, rather a ticking bomb that can go off any second. To find out if Akane did help her or not, Akane requests that a GPS tracker should be implanted within her, which, let's be honest, that could be a little bit invading to that person's body. And that's the end of that entry. last person we need to talk to is our little girlfriend, Midori. Midori says she's never met Akane before, but she did overhear some students in the bathroom talking about an entry regarding punishment and revenge. She also overheard that this entry was found in the Sayama forest. When heading to the Sayama forest, we find the last entry. This entry consists of Akane studying the student that she previously locked up using the chip that was implanted in the student. She found that, in general, she was way calmer and not like what she was before, leading to Akane's belief that her discipline tactics worked. She decides to monitor her a little bit longer before she completely takes out the chip. And that's the end of the entry. From all of this, Saori has actually learned that Akane was never really a terrible monster, but she could be if she needed to be. She still wants to find out who's responsible for Akane's death and to punish all of them. Okay, that's it with that section. I'm so sorry. It was kind of boring, not gonna lie. So I'm so sorry if I bored you. Let's move on with the story. So remember how Saori said, oh, maybe I should join the photography club. Maybe I could find some information there. Well, she goes ahead and does that, but first she has to go to the members list. In the first room after the gate on Building B, 4th floor, is the photography room. She reads off the names of the members of the photography club and she decides to talk to the leader first. The leader being Kaori Osaka. When speaking to Kaori asking to join, she doesn't think we sound very confident and she's not sure if we have the right passion to join. So she tells us to talk to the rest of the members to get their approval, and once we get their approval, we can talk to Kaori for her approval. We first talk to Ayaka Shimizu. We find out she's the representative leader. To show her our skill, she requests that we have 100 photos in our files. This is really easy to do. All you need to do is pull out your camera and take photos of green areas until your files reach 100. It doesn't matter what you take photos of or where you take photos of. They can be in different areas because they all add up, so it doesn't matter what you take a photo of as long as you have 100 photos. Once you get 100 photos, you talk to her again and she gives you her approval. Then we talk to Kimi Nakano. Luckily, Kimi is actually very nice. She says that we only need to take 10 photos of Dream Village, claiming that life is hard enough. But before we leave, she asks us, can we handle a secret? She says that she has something to tell us today at 6 o'clock after school. Another secret. These secrets being promised to us is very familiar by now. Students are promising secrets here and there. Even the girl at the pool on Monday night promised to tell us something the next day. But anyways, once we get 10 Dream Village photos, we talk to her and we get her approval. The next person is Akiko Azami. She requests 10 photos of Sayama Forest. And of course, once we show her the photos, we get her approval. Now it's time to talk to the last person. Okay, last person. Okay, well, this shouldn't be too hard. It's been a breeze so far. Fukumi Akeda. She demands us to call her Queen Princess Fukumi. She wants us to call her this all the time. This redhead wants us to do her everyday chores. She wants us to do her laundry in our own home with our own washer machine. She wants us to clean her shoe locker. She wants us to do her geography homework, as well as to find her lost lunchbox that she lost in the Sayama forest. She wants a coconut because for some reason she wants to try a coconut. She wants us to return her late books and pay the fee. And she wants tampons. Medium. This girl is a lot. That's no doubt. But anyways, we go ahead and do all these things that she asked. We go and get her dirty laundry from the locker rooms. We clean her shoe locker. We picked up her late books and returned them. We did her homework, which here are the answers, by the way. We pick up a coconut in one of the islands in the lake behind Building G. We find Fukumi's lunchbox, which is in this really red area in the forest, which looks like a bunch of blood was splattered everywhere, but apparently it's just the color of nature, I guess. I can see why she would sit here. I mean, have you seen her hair? Have you seen her socks? So we go home and we do the laundry. We pick up some tampons from our own bathroom. And with that, we're done with all her tasks. She gives us her approval, I think. I don't know what she means by this. But I'm just gonna say, yes, we got her approval. We go back to Kaori and we say, I got all the approvals. Let's go. But to her response, she says, well, honestly, the tasks that the other other members gave you were kind of lame and didn't really show me who you really are. And you have no skill and you suck and just kidding, but she says that she has her own task for us, which will show her if we are truly worth joining this club. And can you guess what that riddle is? That's right, a chess riddle. Here are the answers to the chess riddle because, to be completely honest with you, I don't know how to play chess. Even if I tried to solve this by myself, I wouldn't even have a clue where to start. But thank God for YouTube, am I right? Thank you to this YouTuber. If I could shake your hand, I would. And with all of this, with a heavy heart, I would like to congratulate you for reaching the end of the road of Saori Sato's story. That's right, that's the end of the story. There's nothing else. But Oli, we didn't even find out who did that to Akane, and we didn't find out who took those photos, and what the fart? You're right. Unfortunately, I have to break some news to you. JP doesn't just have Saori Sato's story mode, it has a whole other universe in it, under the name Schoolgirl AI. Personally, I never played Schoolgirl AI. Maybe I've played it like once or twice, but it never stuck to me. It didn't really have a purpose, there was no story, it was just you and your imagination, which I didn't have time for, I didn't have the patience for. Frankly, I didn't even have the interest for it at all. Like I mentioned before, AI is all about you. You can construct your own areas, your own worlds, and this was multiplayer, so whatever you had, you can share with other people. Mr. NOWAY also added fashion contests, which, yeah, that's pretty cool, but what does it do? It doesn't really have an impact on the story or anything, it's just a fun little thing you can participate in, which that's pretty cute, you can't lie, it's like a little community activity. Regarding the story mode, the only updates that were added to the story mode were little things such as little superpowers, I guess you can say, like stealth mode and all that, along with pose mode for the NPCs. NOWAY even added more customization things such as wings and tails and pets and so much more unnecessary crap. Look me in the eyes and tell me that all of this customization stuff is necessary for story mode. Don't get me wrong, this customization stuff was game-changing. It was awesome when it first came out. Slowly enough, it started to not really interest me anymore. The thing that interested me was the story, and I still wasn't getting it. Me, along with other players around the world, have asked about the story mode in the comments, but we never really got an answer. Instead, Mr. NOWAY focused on updating his AI servers and posting a bunch of videos regarding AI. In AI servers, you were soon able to do PvP, you were able to carry and arrest and contain other players. You got some more magical princess, magic sparkly powers, and a lot more customization. Really, this game has customization that is not on story mode. Soon, this game was not called JP anymore. It switched to what we now know, Yandere Schoolgirls Online. Well, my claim about this game not being similar to Yandere Simulator is way harder to defend now because, well, look at the name, it has Yandere in it. But I don't know why. Why is it called Yandere if this game is not about that? The only possible answer that I can think of for that decision is just to lure more people in the game. You know, when people see Yandere, they're like, oh yes, Yanderes, I love Yanderes. And then they see the name online and they're like, oh, this is even better. So that's my guess on why it changed completely. Point is, we're back to where we first started this video, which is Yandere Schoolgirls Online. And you saw the trailer, you know exactly what this game is about, which does not really relate to Saori Sato at all. So let me just ask the newer players a quick question. Can you now understand the slight uncertainty that we, the OG players, have regarding this game's story mode? We have been waiting this whole time for this story mode to finish. And you probably just finished the game too, and you're like, oh, how do I talk to the principal on Tuesday? Well, now you have the answer. At this point in time, the recent videos on the official YouTube channel consist of AI updates and AI live streams until we get something so freaking unexpected. A JP remake. No way! This game is getting a remake? I don't think you could understand my initial excitement when I saw that this game was getting a remake. Finally, after all these years, we get a remake. We were expecting a story continuation, but we're getting a whole remake. I mean, that's even better, I think, right? Thankfully, this remake still revolves around the life of Saori Sato, but it seems to be a little bit different this time. The game controls are significantly different, and the atmosphere and colors seem a little different as well. We actually have voice acting in this version, so that's pretty cool, even though it's just like AI voices, but you know, it's something.
I have a terrible headache. What should I do now? I try to yell, but nobody can hear me. I am exhausted. Really exhausted. I feel like I have not slept at all for days.
I actually wouldn't mind if Mr. NOWAY didn't add any voice acting because I'm already used to reading the dialogue anyways. One thing though that I'm gonna criticize on this is that Saori's voice seems a little bit too soft and high-pitched for my expectation. I'm not saying he needs to change the voice, I'm not saying anything like that, but I'm just saying personally, I visualized Saori's voice to be way deeper than that. And I've seen some comments in his videos agreeing with my statement. Also in this remake, we see that Saori actually meets Akane. Like, Akane is on the staircase literally having like a mysterious conversation with Saori. So we never know. This remake might take a different turn, different type of lead. We might see more of Akane before she dies. Or I don't know if she's still gonna die in the remake, but you know. Overall, this remake seems to carry the legacy that Saori Sato had. Even though it seems that the story might be a little bit different, it still seems very promising, and I'm very excited for it. After 5 videos on this remake, we're back on Schoolgirls AI playing Squid Game. Playing Squid Game on multiplayer servers. Well, now that we know that there's a remake going on, well, Mr. NOWAY should be working on that, right? That should be his main focus, his main priority. You would assume that, or at least hope that, until he releases footage of a new game he plans to develop, literally and simply called Emo. This game is very similar to, well, for me, it feels similar to the other survival game with the zombies, but it does have a way better customization compared to the first zombie game. According to Webbox and Mr. NOWAY himself, the Emo game project is not really a main focus right now. Apparently his main focus is the remake. Mr. NOWAY himself has stated that he has been working on this remake, and there's actually a remake channel on his Discord server that you yourself can go and keep up with all the updates and info. Even though this game might not come out as sooner as we think, letting it be and leaving it to the developer himself is the best option. And speaking of Mr. NOWAY, I'd like to take a little moment to talk about him.
Home sweet home.
Man, oh man, where can I start with this guy? Hey, it's been a while since I went on this editing software to edit this video because I've been pretty busy with school. But there's something going on that I had to get on it and just record right away. Like I said, I never was into the fandom. I just played the game, you know, Saori Sato. I didn't really know what NOWAY was doing or what he said. I never really was in his server until just a couple years ago. I really am a noob at this type of fandom stuff, which is why I have many people helping me out with this fandom stuff and also telling me information about Mr. NOWAY. Mr. NOWAY is, to put it simply, not the best person. If you paid attention to what I was showing you this whole time with this story mode, you can see that there are some questionable features in this game. First of all, whenever you killed some NPC, they would quite literally moan, and I don't know if this is just weird to me or not, but honestly, why does it have to sound like that? I mean, just listen to this. The next thing I wanted to show you is the whips. I haven't shown you this directly, but take a look. These whips are quite literally used to whip the girls if they're too slow or just because you want to. And remember earlier in this video where I showed you that this game revolves around her period cycle? Well, if Can't believe I'm saying this. If you're in the game and your period starts, there will be literal blood coming out of you because you're on your period. And genuinely, why? Why is that a feature? I didn't show you back then because I wanted to save this fact for this section of Mr. NOWAY, because why would Mr. NOWAY add this feature? I mean, it's really, really unnecessary. Here's a clip by Eternal Love on TikTok of this actually happening in the game. This is some weird crap. Really, you can't argue with me that it's not. The flag change to a panty, isn't that a little bit weird? I mean, yeah, maybe it's feminizing or whatever, but there is a lot of references to women's underwear in this game and it feels very creepy. Ever since Dream Village, I don't know, why does underwear have to be relevant to this game? It never had to be. But this is just the beginning. This is just the stuff that was here 8 years ago, and it's gotten way worse. We got chest sizes. Yeah, bigger chest sizes. And you know how criticized and hated Yandere Dev got for, adding a feature to increase your chest size. By the way, these are high school girls. This is a high school simulator. This is high school Saori Sato, Schoolgirl Supervisor. Remember when I told you that AI is multiplayer? Well, the multiplayer AI default map has a whole city, including, guess what it is? I'll wait for you. Did you guess strip club? Because that's correct. And yeah, maybe I'm just thinking too much on it, but why does a strip club have to be included? I mean, that's just asking for bad things to happen. And to add on to the fact that there's strip clubs in this game, there are quote-unquote love rooms in this game in the same map. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not sure if I'm looking too deep into this decision, but it just doesn't feel morally correct to add this when I would think the majority of your fanbase are minors. So why would this be an option for them? The fact that this game is online is already concerning because every online game has some danger to it because, not to sound like a mother, but you never know who you're gonna meet on this game, and these additions aren't making it any better. Also, something that I wanted to point out that I think might just be me, but I'm just gonna say it anyways. On his emo project that has allegedly been abandoned for now, the characters he used looked very young, and for some reason they had to be in some revealing clothing. Maybe it's just me, there's nothing wrong with swimsuits, but I don't know, it just kind of felt a little bit exposing. I get it, NOWAY wants to create a sexy game with girls who kill zombies. People that I have been communicating through my TikTok account have been telling me that it feels very fetishizing. Everything that I just said feels very fetishizing, of course, but also the fact that this game revolves around a girls-only school and people have been suggesting maybe he has a fetish of lesbians, which I can see clearly, honestly. I could really get behind that. Somebody also said that he might be into BDSM and tries to incorporate it in his game. And I mean, look at it this way. The arresting, the duct taping, the blindfolding, the whips, the moans, the overall authority that you have on these high school girls. It does seem very messed up and, dare I say, fetishizing. But let's cut back to the present day and see where Mr. NOWAY stands currently. I got a text from Webbox claiming that he and many others have been banned from the official Schoolgirl Supervisor Discord server. And the reason for that was because they were providing criticism. Really? Wow, banning people for trying to help you create a better game and to assist you in your remake progress. There's another person that I reached out to on Discord, which I'm gonna keep their name private because I don't want them to be subject to any banning or anything really. I just want to keep people safe. That's why I've been crossing out people's names as well, except for Webbox because he gave me permission to credit him. But here are some of the things that this person has sent me, which does not look good on Mr. NOWAY's part. It's just him really making poor decisions and saying stupid things that you probably shouldn't say when you're a game developer to your fans. It looks like, in general, he's a very egocentric person. He seems to treat his fans in a very inferior way, thinking he's some sort of god. He doesn't really seem to have much respect correct for things that are just genuinely offensive. I mean, look at this screenshot. I mean, really, what it feels like he's doing is just acting stupid, because why would he waste his time to fix some sort of thing going on the multiplayer universe when he can really be, oh, I don't know, updating his AI servers, adding new little princess crowns, and making his boob size like 5 million plus double D. Whatbox actually sent me 2 servers that I can join that are run by some of the people in the Saori Sato fanbase that are basically rebelling against Yandere. Oh, I almost said Yandere Deb. Oh, what a coincidence. Oh, in one of these servers, I actually learned that there's someone named Occultist on Discord who's actually making a fan-made game regarding Saori Sato in response to Mr. NOWAY challenging them to make a better game. Oh man, this seems very familiar to me. That's right, the same thing happened with Yandere Dev. I know nothing about game developing and all that, but just the fact that I know that Saori Sato was made on Unity, I mean, come on, it shouldn't be that hard to remake a game that's basically the same game but better. And the remake by Occultist is actually looking very great, and I'm so excited. Thank you, Occultist, for actually doing this for us, you know, making a whole new game so that we actually have a voice in this game. And also, I just want to say thank you for not wanting to add the freaking voice acting, because oh my god, the AI voices are horrible, they're horrendous, and I would rather it just be no voice acting at all. The last thing I want to talk to you about is something that I think is the most important accusation that might be true, might not be true. I'm not sure, but we have some evidence for it, and that is Mr. NOWAY
possibly having inappropriate interactions with a minor.
This TikTok account right here was created just for the purpose of exposing what happened. There used to be a player named Cookie-chan, and apparently they had a very strange relationship. NOWAY featured her in many videos and live streams. He interacted with her in some strange acts and tried to get in touch with her privately. At the time, Cookie-chan was 13 to 14 years old, while NOWAY was in his 30s to 40s. She then disappeared from the community for a while until she finally came out to share her story. Cookie-chan, aka Malibu, has actually showed us proof that she owns this Cookie-chan channel. She says that she doesn't have much proof because she deleted all of the proofs, but just this alone that we already have says so much. And because we don't have complete proof, however, this is all alleged stuff, even though it does seem to be very much true. But I just want to take this moment to say, if you or if anyone you know has ever had some type of inappropriate relationship with this developer, please, and I mean please, reach out, because things like this should never be overlooked, and everyone has a voice. So please, if something happened or if you have to say something, let us know. And chances are you're probably not the only person who has gone through this. So yeah, NOWAY is not in a good spot right now. I think it's a good thing that the fandom is starting to make their own fandom within the same fandom. To end this off, however, I'd like to tell you that it's your choice whether or not you want to continue to support this developer or to cut ties and focus on something healthier. I love Saori Sato, but unfortunately, it's tied with many other things. Only the future will tell whether or not this game will make it out alive or might just be rebranded by someone else. But that's something we just have to wait out and see. There's a somber part in this video that I keep thinking about, which is the story mode. There's so much speculation on the photography club being responsible for Akane's death, and all of those Polaroid photos, and all of those weird character interactions that kind of hinted towards a deeper secret within the school. And we never really knew what the basement was used for and if we'll ever be able to use that basement. And that's all because, as you know, this game's story has ended. And it's really sad to think about how it's slowly being left behind. There's something very nostalgic about this game and its models and its atmosphere. It feels very liminal. And really, all of these areas can be considered liminal spaces because of how vague they are. It's another reason why I love this game. It just feels eerie almost everywhere, no matter if it's supposed to be or not. Have you ever watched those videos where it's like creepy images found in video games and it's like the most creepiest image that you would never expect that game to have? That is exactly how this game feels. I don't think there's any creepy images hidden in it, but creepy things such as a ghost in the coding, which exists, by the way. That's a real thing. You can see like some random girl in the night shift loading screen, which is so creepy because there's not supposed to be any schoolgirls on campus during nighttime, and even if you went to go look for her, she's not there. This screenshot that I'm showing you right now is the proof of this ghost, and it's actually named BG Sayama Guillotine Night Ghost. Yeah, that's what it's officially named as. Another weird thing that you can find in this game is some weird T-posing character with white hair in the Sayama Dream Village in one of the apartment buildings, which was said to be part of some quest that isn't active yet but is planned to be added regarding some type of nightmare. There's actually a few of these quests that show up if you look in the coding but is not available to complete yet, such as this one named Night Shift Investigation on Monday, which was brought to light to me thanks to this user on TikTok. Thank you so much for telling me about this, because I did not know about this at all. Apparently, there is a quest that we could have done but isn't added in the game regarding checking out some type of screaming in the basement. That sounds really creepy, and considering how creepy the basement is, I think that would have been a really cool quest to do. But anyways, just by these things and all this imagery that I'm showing you, you can really see a very creepy emptiness in this type of map. This map looks so abnormal because of how inconsistent it looks. I mean, look at the street. It's just straight up. It just looks like some type of dreamcore image. And also, there used to be some random forgotten house in Sayama Forest on top of the highest mountain. This was really creepy because it didn't have any relevance and it was just there. And it was actually removed later on. So why was it there in the beginning and why was it removed? It's just another thing to think about how creepy this game can be unintentionally just because of how it looks and what choices are made. And have you seen the game over screen? That scene is so scary, it makes you feel like you did something illegal. This game over screen seems so unreal, it feels weird, it doesn't feel like it fits the game because this is really the only game over screen to exist. Anyways, this information is coming from an iceberg that I made about this game. I don't think I'll have time to cover every single thing, but I'm sure that I covered most of it in this video. If you want, let me know if you want me to make a whole new video on this iceberg covering everything, or if you even want to, you can cover it yourself, you know, just give me the credits, of course. But yeah, this iceberg includes some of the really well-known stuff, but also the very unknown stuff, such as the Miami sisters, which revolves around the theory that they love each other, you know, intimately, even though they're twin sisters. Yeah, that's really gross to think about, but that's on the iceberg, so, you know, if you want to learn about that, let me know. Before I keep ranting about this game, I want to just end it, because please, just end me already. I don't want to keep talking about this game and it's horrible. I'm just kidding. I just wanted to say, if you noticed already, I've been actually involving a lot of the fans' voices and their comments and just everything, because I feel like it's important to include everybody in this video. Thank you for everyone who has told me all of this info and supported me through this. It means so much. I've never done anything like this before, so hopefully I can give you an insight on what what this game is, and if you didn't know what this game was before this video, I hope you enjoyed it because it's a really strange roller coaster. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much again. It's a sad thing to see this game go downhill majorly, but this game will still hold a special place in my heart no matter what happens. And I'm sure that's the case for many other fans as well. As we as a community have watched this game start off as a great story mode, then slowly progress into a basically dating simulator, we can truly see that this game did not stick to what it was originally about. I can't even recognize this game anymore. But anyways, Mr. NOWAY, I wish you the best. And like you said, you don't accept any hateful comments on your progression on this game. So that's why we're gonna steer away from you. With that, I encourage you to keep fetishizing emo culture. Have a good night.
I lost 1,000 XP because Saori Sato was dead. I haven't even played the game and my cat's dead already. Oh, is that Shiori? Who's still dead?
I saw you once putting the handcuffs into your locker on the 3rd floor. If you enter Schulding, I totally forgot I have a cat with a camera with me. It's so weird.
Saori Sato is in the house.
What the?
You're under arrest.